Hi Leo, welcome to your March 2020 Tarot and Astrology reading. This is for Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising sign. So, take a deep breath because Pisces season is quite heavy for you guys. The 8th house is very much the in the shadows energy, and Leo, you like to walk in the sun. And I am sorry that you're the last scope that's going up. Somebody said to me, magician, somebody said to me on Instagram, because I joked that Geminis, funny that they just popped out, were bullying me into doing their reading next. And it was just a joke or whatever. So I said I was going to go in order of the signs that were the scariest. And someone said, why are you not scared of Leos? And I thought, well, I'm afraid I've dealt with so many that you guys just don't scare me anymore. And I think I'm a little bit inflammable. So, before you get mad at me, the Magician card is beautiful energy. The Virgo full moon, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury goes direct in the same day that there is a full moon in Virgo. And it's not just any moon, it's a super moon. And wow! Justice and the Two of Cups. Just take a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it lovely? Very lovely. So, the Virgo full moon is going to occur in your second house. And your second house is all about money. It's all about your finances, that kind of thing. But it's for me, I would describe the second house as being much to do with your worth, where you put your value, what you value most. And for some of you that are in relationships, I think you're starting to wonder, as this full moon in your sector of worth opposes Neptune in your 8th house, connecting with Jupiter in Capricorn, which is your 6th house. You're starting to wonder, where is this going? You're starting to wonder, much like Sagittarius, what do I want the next step in love to look like? And as we move towards Gemini season, which is in May, June time, with Aries season and Taurus season, Leo, I really think you're thinking a lot about what partnerships mean to you and if your love life is suitably serious, or for some of you, the love life of your children, or dare I say, maybe situations could be you're wondering about your parents' choices in love. But really, with Saturn moving into Aquarius and then Mars in the last time moving into Aquarius, and we will get there, you're really thinking about love being serious. Because Saturn in Aquarius puts a big question mark over your marriages, your relationships. And it's a time when you really learn a lot about love. You should talk to the Cancers about it. They've gone through this for the last couple of years. But I think for a lot of you, for many of you, you are quite possibly getting married, or proposing, or making a relationship official. When Venus moves into Gemini in Aries season, ooh, Death card. When Venus moves into Venus moves into Gemini in Aries season, my apologies, you get a wish involved with your romantic life. You get to decide what you want to happen. And for some of you, I think with Saturn moving into Aquarius towards the end, you've kind of decided that something that could quite possibly be long-term just is not it anymore. Or you could decide to date entirely different types of people. Or you could decide that you need to cut out some dead weight. There's big shifts here, and it's all coming from a standpoint of whether or not this is what you really want and whether or not this is fair, and you're tired of being kind of confused about it. If you're in a love relationship with a Libra, I think you're deciding whether or not this actually could lead to the seriousness that you want it to. If you're dealing with a Scorpio, the communication there is so in need of some clearing out that you feel possibly quite in your head and trapped about things. If you're dealing with a Gemini or a Virgo, you just want to know that it's equal. And to be quite frank, Leo, you don't really do equal. You kind of do worship. You want to be adored the way you want to be adored, and if somebody is not adoring you in that way, I think you're really thinking about leaving. It's the same if it is in your career. Venus in your career zone, with Uranus being in your career zone, you're really getting very tired of being told where the limits lie, where the caps are, where you cannot make more money. You're really starting to understand where the naysayers and the doubters are frustrating your dreams and ambitions, and again, maybe there you could do with cutting a little bit of weight. Now, Eight of Cups and the Page of Cups. When we get to Aries season and Mars moves into your partnership sector, and it will test you. It really will test your partnerships, particularly with Saturn there. Some of you just might decide to go back. Interesting. There is a dynamic in your relationships, Leo, that could be revisited because maybe it's going back a little bit deeper than you think it is. Maybe it's going back to childhood. Maybe it's going back to a parent who made you feel like your emotions were not fair. A teacher that made you feel like your tantrums were toxic. Something about your childhood wants to be acknowledged. And it's coming through time and time and time again in your relationships. You guys are stubborn. You guys can be exceptionally stubborn. You can be strong, you can be loyal, you can be all these things, but you can be stubborn. And I think for a lot of Leos, there is something or someone that has gone that you are still holding on to. Or you are bringing the pain, the abuse, the mistreatment of a past relationship into current relationships or prospective relationships. Because there is this feeling that something ends and begins and ends and begins and begins again and ends again and begins again and ends again. Relationships that are on and off, on and off, on and off will probably not survive Saturn and Mars moving into your relationship sector. Unless the root of the issue is understood, where it's coming from. And I think, Leo, whether it is your choices or your style of language or your communication style, I think it's you. The way that people treat you always, always, always falls back on you, even if you like to deny it, because you're still making the choice to remain. You're still making the choice to accept the treatment, even if it ends dramatically and then there's a conversation and all of a sudden you're back together and then you feel confused. And if this is just different people in different relationships going forward, that seems to be the thing that is troubling you so much. There is nothing wrong at all with wanting what you want. But as much as some other people can try, they can't always give you what that is. And for some of you, this translates, if we are looking at an entirely happy love situation, you're thinking, while in that situation, I'm going to absolutely turn my career upside down, or I'm going to turn my family situation upside down, or I'm going to do something for me, and maybe it goes down like a lead balloon. Whatever it is that is undergoing a great process of change in your life, Leo, you're able to find clarity, and that clarity makes you feel temporarily restricted. But the beauty of the Eight of Swords is that she is only restricted by choice. And the beauty of the Eight of Cups is that this person is moving forward. But I often think with the Eight of Cups, it can represent an unnecessary move. The Virgo full moon is going to show you where a lack of worth, a lack of esteem, or a motivation by material is keeping you from the deep intimacy and connections that you want. Are you being a bit shallow with the people that you date? Are you tripping up in relationships because you want your cake, but you also want this level of excitement all the time, or you want something that is triggered by something deeper in you and that it's messing up your relationships as they stand? If there's been a period of conflict, again, I feel as though you're maybe rejecting someone or something because you felt rejected, possibly going back quite a while. So, not trying to sound like Freud, but do you think the answer lies in going back to a relationship? Or do you think the answer lies in going back to your past? Because with the Ten of Swords and the Sun, you have what it takes to heal yourself. You can be the sun that rises over a dark, dismal situation or an unhappy situation. And the beautiful thing about the Ten of Swords is that it's done. The worst has happened. Now the sun's out. Now we begin again. Because at the center we have the Ace of Swords, meaning that you can cut through just about anything that is blocking your vision for the future. And for some of you, with Mercury retrograding until the 9th in your sector of partnerships, you may well be reconnecting with people, friends, lovers, family that you've not spoken to, that you're at odds at. There may be peace, there may be resolution there may be understanding. But on the flip side, there may also be disappointment that you need to yet again pick yourself up from if there is a pattern there. Because they say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expecting different results. If you're going through a tumultuous situation in your family life at the minute, the key to finding some kind of peace or resolution is not in continuing the war, even though you like to burst into flames and roast everyone, which is the thing about the sun. The sun can still give you sunburn. So how much of this suffering is self-inflicted? Because as I say, it's a choice. And with the Four of Cups here, you are rejecting something or someone or some answer that so desperately wants to reveal itself to you. And I think with the Virgo full moon, you can't really ignore that anymore. Leos so often need to be adored that they find themselves surrounded by yes people, to the point where eventually a Leo's own bad habits or toxic behavior take them down. Because nobody said this is maybe not a good idea. And how to handle that is to be your own parole officer. To really check in with the habits that you have at the minute. Because I think if you are looking for this seriousness and this compatibility in love and this happily ever after and someone to marry and someone to settle down with, if you're looking for those things, you need to look where the little self-destructive button is going off and saying, I'm going to pick someone who is very attractive or silver-tongued but really doesn't offer me anything emotionally, or I'm going to repeatedly try and make this relationship work that has died, quite frankly, a long time ago, or I'm going to decide that I can make this work on my own. Or you feel a little bit trapped by your situation. And maybe it's time to go. Saturn going into your partnership sector is going to be interesting because it wants to provide you with relationships that can last. And so you need to ask yourself what it is you're doing that is going to build these type of things. And for some of you, possibly yes, the key is in reconciliation with your spouse or your partner or whatever that is this looks like, whether it's reconciling with your children, having conversations about children, or realizing that you want certain things that your partner does not. And maybe the ending leads to a new beginning. But the beautiful thing about the Ten of Swords and the Sun is that there is an element of joy and healing to something that's been going on far too long within you that needs resolution. And that is what we call progress. So I'm going to draw an oracle card and see what we get. Ooh. Aphrodite, inner goddess. Awaken the goddess within you through dance, self-care, and appreciating your divinity. And I know all the males watching this are probably saying, heh. But Aphrodite is very much about appreciating the feminine in all forms, whether you're a male or whether you are a female. Self-care and looking after your emotional health, your nurturing health, how you feel about yourself is what, Leo, is going to lead you to true love. And maybe some of you are there, and maybe this relationship that is real and it is based on love and truth is triggering you into seeing where maybe there are a few habits or opinions or beliefs that you need to look into, Leo, to understand in order for you to get the sun. Maybe you or a partner is going through a period of depression. There will be sun again, but it relies very much on you and the work that you're willing to do. I'm going to jump into the extended, Leo. I will see you there. Take care. Bye.